I think the challenges are that the technology and the pedagogies are growing very quickly, but getting our institutions, our faculty, and even our students to use these new tools effectively is very hard. I think education is very slow to change, and the technologies are very fast to change, and putting the two together is very challenging. And I think also I think there's a challenge of leadership, not only at the university level, but to having people who can excite other people about the opportunities and can lead effectively and administer effectively. It's hard to find good leaders who can do that.
I published 2 years ago a book on digital technologies in higher education, sweeping expectation and actual effects, and try to analyze why there is a huge gap still between the expectations echoed at the end of the 20th century and the realities that take place in higher education. And I believe, from my kind gathering a lot of data and reading hundreds of reports and books and research studies, that one of the main challenges is more focusing on top-down policies. We have a lot of scattered studies at the micro level of e-learning implementation. Most of the data is not consolidated into something that policymakers or other stakeholders can take kind of advantage of. So one of the challenges is really to kind of analyze the bountiful data that we have on e-learning into something leading trends that we can learn something about. Another thing, though we believe that the youngsters are kind of, some call them the Homo sapiens and the natives of the e-learning age, they know how to use the technology for downloading music files, for making PowerPoint, very sophisticated PowerPoint. Even though they are very proficient with computers, they do not know how to study really effectively with computers. So ongoing support for both teachers and students in this field is, I think, a must in order to sustain it and keep it going. Not only going, right now, most of the uses of technology all over the world are more as an add-on function. You still keep on with the traditional teaching and learning, and you add on additional functions through the technologies. Most people do not know exactly how to substitute it and how to take the advantages, the huge advantages that are there in the technologies into their everyday practice. So it's something that the future will need to explore. We will need to explore it more fully in the future.
I see open educational resources is the key topic, key issue these days, because we like to promote the very valuable digital materials that everybody have been producing. I mean, many universities, many centers, many individuals, NGOs have been developing these very valuable, good quality resources. Now I think it's important to study the quality of the OERs, it's called OERs, and then also how to evaluate the quality, how to support people to develop good quality OERs. So that's one issue that I think the Elearncenter has been focusing on that issue as well. And another issue will be the how to help people who have this traditional way of teaching and learning change their mindset. You know, people do not change at once. So maybe we need to think about the strategic plan, develop a strategic plan to help people to reflect, review the way they learn, the way they teach, and make some adjustment to introduce technology in their teaching and learning.
Concerning the future of technology in education, I think that probably there are two key issues. One is assessment. assessment of learning is very important. If assessment have to evolve, has to change itself in order to integrate ICT in a very natural way. If we do not change the way we evaluate or assess teachers, students, and so on, the long-term integration and the long-term taking advantage of the ICT becomes very difficult. The second thing, besides assessment, for me, is that the governance issues. ICT is not a separate subject that has its own life. The ICT is deeply integrated in the design and the running of the organization. So we need a sort of new management logic devoted to fully supporting the integration of ICT in institutions and any type of institutions, and specifically in educational institutions. And also this management logic should see ICT as or maybe the most important way to empower individual learners. I think that requires setting up a new governance logic, and I think this is a real crucial problem.
One key issue is balancing learner-centered learning with the facilitation that teachers can provide. Many people now think that with new technologies, students have access to all sorts of resources and they can teach themselves. I don't believe that. I think that in order to overcome misconceptions and deep ignorance, you need the assistance of teachers. But too much teacher control doesn't give students the opportunity to invent and become self-sustaining learners. Balancing between learner-centered and teacher-facilitated learning is a key. Figuring out how to do that at scale is essential, because we need more people in the world to be better learners, better thinkers, and we need to overcome the discrepancies between people who have access to high quality education and those who don't. So achieving this balance for large numbers of learners to improve high quality education at scale is our challenge.